Welcome back to BookTeaTalk, the book podcast where two sisters read a book together and chat about it each week over a cup of tea. I'm Kayla.
And I'm Maddie. Today's episode is a little different. Instead of diving into our next read, we're going to chat about our 2025 reading year. 90% of the books we both read this year we did not do together. So hopefully this will be as much fun for all of you as it is for us.
This episode will be spoiler-free as we talk generally about the books we read this year and go over the summaries. We will do our best to refrain from spoiling anything for all of you watching. As always, if you have read any of the books we cover in this episode or finished a series that is mentioned, please keep spoilers out of the comments so that everyone can enjoy the conversations.
Before we get into our reading wins and future goals, I have to know, what tea are you drinking today?
First of all, cute mug.
Oh, cute mug. Flowers, huh?
This was a Goodwill find.
Okay, cute. I love
Slay.
it.
I loved it.
Slay.
But I'm drinking the Taylor's hibiscus and peach.
Good? Is it good?
I think it was.
Have you tried it?
I think it's delicious.
Okay.
Well, I didn't ask you what you were drinking yet. What are you drinking today?
Okay, well, I'm drinking today in this cute little Good Morning Gorgeous mug. Gorgeous, obviously. Doing a passion fruit tea with honey.
Very sweet, very good.
I am actually very sick, so hopefully the honey will heal me.
Heal you? Not like loosen up your cords, but like heal you. Magical abilities.
It will heal me, I know for sure, because it's wild honey. It's like wildflower honey, I think is what the bottle said. Wildflower.
So that instantly means it's going to heal you.
Well, it's from wildflowers, duh. It's like from the environment, the earth.
Got it. Thanks for educating me.
Yeah, I don't know what I have. Okay, guys, I'm very sick. I don't know what I have. I think it's like a cold. I don't know. There's like something going around right now in Texas. Freaking Texas people getting everybody sick. But yes, I'm sick. But I'm not so sick. Does that make sense?
Sure.
I'm still able to do the podcast. Okay.
Got it.
Okay, I'm just yapping away. Okay, by the way, if you enjoy book chats and discussions like this, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss future episodes. And now that the tea is ready, let's rewind to our 2025 reading year. First, Mom, can we just talk about how fast this year went by?
It really has.
So fast. It feels like yesterday was 2024. It's actually crazy how fast it went.
It's insane to think that in like 2 days, it's going to be 2026.
And kind of like grosses me out almost. Like I don't like it
Yeah.
when things change. I get so excited for Christmas, and then the days leading up to New Year's, I'm like, no. Like, just stop. Just go away. It's very sad. Now that we've set the vibes for today, let's officially rewind to the beginning of the year. Do you remember what your very first read of 2025 was?
I do, only because I have a reading journal that I put a lot of time and effort into. But yeah, I first read Immortal by Su Lin Tan, and if I can remember, I'll put like pictures of the books on the screen. Basically, the book it's steeped in Chinese mythology, where we follow our main character, who is the heir to Tianxia. I'm going to butcher all of these names, but our heir is named Lian. She is destined to rule a kingdom bound to the immortals who once protected it. When a deadly betrayal shatters that fragile peace, Lian ascends the throne, determined to reclaim her people's freedom. Drawn into the dangerous world of the immortal realm, she uncovers long buried secrets and forms a reluctant alliance with the very immortal she should fear the most, which is the god of war. As tensions rise and threats close in, Lian must decide how far she's willing to go to protect her kingdom, even if it costs her everything. So I did overall rate it a 3-star. And I remember that it started out really strong. Like, the lore was interesting. The world was beautiful. I was vibing with it. I did get it as a book of the month Audible, like audio choice for the time. And usually book of the month books are really good. But yeah, so about 70% of the book, I kind of lost interest when the third act conflict got introduced. I was like, we already solved the one conflict. I'm kind of over this story. So it started to lose me a little bit, but overall, it was a decent book with interesting lore.
I
And yeah.
What is, book of the month?
So this is not an ad because they do partner with people online all the time. But Book of the Month is a subscription service for books. And usually, when you start out, you might be actually interested in this. When you first start out, it sometimes costs between $5 to $9 a month, and then it goes up a little bit. But overall, it's cheaper than the cost of an actual hardcover book. They
No,
do
wait,
send out hardcover books.
hold on. I have an Audible subscription. That's why I'm like, I know nothing
No,
about
this
books of the
isn't
month.
I said Audible, but I meant audio. So,
What?
Book of the Month, they send out hardcover books each month, or you can exchange your credit for an audiobook through their platform. But basically, they curate like a selection of 5 books per month in different genres, sometimes new authors, sometimes best selling authors. They're usually really good books, and you pick one and they send it to you, or you can listen to it instead.
So you do that.
I used to do it. I did it for like 7 months, like, a few years ago. I don't do it anymore because I wasn't really reading any of the books I was getting because 'cause I'm still buying books in person too. And I still have a lot downstairs. I would like to prioritize reading those sometime soon, at least the Book of the Month ones, because usually they're standalones, and once I read it, I probably won't wanna keep it, so that's something to come off my shelf, but yeah, that's that.
Pretty interesting. I didn't know that. Okay,
Yeah.
very cool.
I would definitely recommend you looking into it if you wanna branch out into 2 different genres too, as someone who's just getting into reading or, you know.
No, I like my genres. I
Okay.
like keeping it just like this.
Okay. And what was your first read of 2025?
Okay, so my first read was the Madison Kate series by Tate James. This was a recommendation from one of my friends, and this actually got me into reading. I just started reading the beginning of this year again, since like middle school was the last time that I've consistently read books. So this series got me back into reading. So it starts with Madison Kate. She's the main character. She is returning to her hometown. And after a traumatic event known as Riot Night, she was accused of a murder. And then she faced betrayal by those she trusted near her. So she starts navigating her crazy, chaotic life, and she finds that she has a stalker. She winds up living with 3 guys, and their names are Archer, Cody, and Steele. And yeah, it's a really good book. You kind of follow what's going on, and her stalker thing is like the main culprit, like the what is it called?
The main star of the show, like, the main story
It's the main,
point.
yeah, it's the main plot, like figuring out what's going on with the stalker. I will say, I think there's 3 or 4 books, but it does kind of get like repetitive by like what's happening.
Okay.
And you can kind of follow the relationships that she's building that gets better as the books go on, but I would say it's kind of repetitive. But the first book and the last book are my favorite. They were both very, very good, but the middle two, they're okay. But
Okay.
yeah, I would rate it, now that I've read other books, I would rate it like a 3, 3.5. And I'm still learning what my
Okay.
favorite genre is, but I think that's not my favorite genre. Were there any books this year that you should have DNF'd but didn't?
Yes, 3 come to mind instantly. Well, maybe only 2. So, I read the Atlas 6 series by Olivia Blake, and it's a book that sounds really interesting. Okay, I'll give you a little summary real quick. There, we follow 6 extraordinary magicians who are invited to the Alexandrian Society, which is a secret world where knowledge is power and discovery comes at a steep price. Bound by ambition and curiosity, they must collaborate to unlock the society's most forbidden secrets. But as alliances shift and rivalries deepen, trust becomes the rarest magic of all, and a place where brilliance can destroy as easily as it creates. And each choice could cost them more than just power. So basically, it's 6 people who get invited to this top secret society, and they're like not magicians in like a normal sense. Magicians are very rare in this society, in this world in general. So they're very well sought out, and that sounds amazing, right? That book in itself sounds really good, super fantasy, fantastical. Sounds amazing. So I read this with a coworker of mine who convinced me to read the series because he didn't tell me he had only read the first two and he didn't read the third one. So I pushed myself along reading all of these books,
Mm.
and it was a struggle because it moves very slowly. The chapters are like 30 pages long and feels it's just very dense because they're supposed to be these really smart people. So the author makes them sound really smart, but it also loses itself to the it like, I don't know if this stuff really exists, like, it doesn't, obviously, because it's, time travel and whatnot, but she does a really good job making it sound like it's convincing enough to where I can't comprehend what's going on. So, I did finish them, but they're my honorable mentions of I should have DNF'd them. If I wasn't reading them with the coworker, I would have DNF'd them type thing. What about you?
Okay, so a book that I should have DNF'd that I didn't is actually a
Mhm.
series that I'm currently reading. And I'm gonna get hate for this. I know I'm gonna get hate for this, but
What are you reading?
it's a part of the Zodiac Academy series, but it's not
Mm,
the main book. It's like a spinoff that they're doing, but I don't know.
mhm.
It's so weird how the Zodiac Academy world is like you're supposed to read 3 books of the main series and then read 5 books of a spinoff series. And I'm on book 5 of the spinoff
Mhm.
and I am struggling to get through this. Like it's taken me a couple months because it's just so bad. I hate it. I
Like, the
really do.
writing is bad?
It's not the writing, it's just I don't like the main character. I don't like how quickly she got into relationships. There's just a lot of stuff that I'm just like, but I have to get through it if I want to continue to Zodiac Academy because the characters pop up in it. So, yeah, I'm going to get hate for that for
Okay.
sure. It's like the Dark Face series is what it's.
Probably. I have heard mixed reviews on that one. I have a few coworkers who love the series, and one day I would like to get to it, but I have heard that the writing is kind of cheesy and not for everybody, at least in like the first few books. So,
I also have another one that is also a part of that
Go-
world, but I didn't realize it was a part of that world. It's not a part of the Zodiac world, but it's by the same author. It's called Kings of Quarantine. Have you heard of it?
I feel like I've heard of that one.
It's by the same author as Zodiac, but basically they kind of were in like a COVID lockdown situation. They get stuck at this like preppy school, and they're in high school, and everybody
Hmm.
thinks that the main character's dad is the one who like started the whole virus thing, and they treat her so bad. Like the guy
Okay.
she ends up with or whatever, I think she ends up with like 3. But the people she ends up with, they literally bully the crap out of her, and I hated every second of that first book. It was so bad. I should have not finished that, but I read it anyways. Give that series a 2. It gets better as they get nicer to her, but yeah, no, it's yeah. So did you actually DNF any books this year?
So I'll answer for both of us. We
Please do.
both DNF'd. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if you DNF'd more, but this is the only one I actually DNF'd this year.
I have another DNF.
So, do you? Okay, I'll tell this one first and then you can tell your other one. So, before we started third of class, we attempted to start Huntsman by Naomi Simone. I'm not sure quite how to say the author's name for this one. But essentially, it's a Snow White retelling where it's a gritty world where mob families rule and power is everything. And one woman has been hunted her whole life. When a legendary assassin known as the Huntsman is sent to kill her, she sees a chance for revenge and control of her own fate. But the hunter might become more than her greatest threat. Dark, dangerous, and charged with tension, Huntsman blends mafia intrigue with fierce enemies to lovers. But yeah, so dark romance, obviously.
Easily the
What
worst
can I
book I've
say?
ever read in my entire life. I'm so serious. It was terrible. It was terrible.
Yeah, the writing was so bad. Like, she was trying to be oddly specific with specific weapons and cars or motorcycles, and it's just like you get lost in it. But then the writing was just genuinely really terrible. Like, words
Really bad.
and everything. It just sounded like maybe someone in middle school wrote it and
The
it
main
didn't get properly
characters
edited.
The main characters were supposed to be like mob people and they were talking like teenagers.
Mhm.
It was so bad. It was
Yeah.
terrible. But yeah.
And I don't know if the author did that intentionally, but if they did, I don't feel like it was the right move. I mean, we read 25% in the book and we were like, we can't do this. And then on top of that, the two, what can I say without being too descriptive here? The two characters, you do get a few intimate scenes with them, and it's just very graphic and disgusting, and it's just not something that I wanna read personally, so, yeah, we did DNF this one.
Yeah.
What was the other one that you DNF'd this year?
Okay, so the book that I DNF'd this year, the second book I DNF'd, I only DNF'd two, which is the one that we just talked about, and then this one. It was When the Moon Hatched by Sarah Parker. I would give a summary if I
Hot
knew
take.
what was going on, but I did not know what was going on. I'm sorry, the
That is
entire
crazy because 'cause I've
time.
heard a lot of good things about that book as
I
well.
know, me too. That's why I was like, "What?" And then I was like, "Okay, this also could be on me because I, like, do audiobooks." But the entire
Mhm.
time, I think I read, like, 75%, and by, like, the 75% mark, I still had no idea what was happening. It was just a bunch of random words thrown in. I don't know. I couldn't give you a summary even if I wanted to. I have no idea what it was about, but it was terrible, in my opinion. I didn't like it, so I did DNF it.
Did you say you finished it or only read 75%?
75%. I tried. I was like, maybe like towards the end it'll start making sense, and it just wasn't. So yeah, no, it was bad.
75% is kind of, like, really far into a book to DNF.
I know. I was
But yeah,
really
I was just
trying
wondering if
here.
it was one of those books that, like, you had to get to the ending to, like, have your eyes open to what you were missing throughout the book, but I feel like if you read 75% of the book, that should be good enough.
I thought so too.
That's
That's
crazy.
why I read so much of it. But yeah, no, it didn't. I had no clue what was happening the entire time. But yeah, it was bad.
Did this year teach you anything about yourself as a reader? Since you are a newbie reader over here.
That I actually have time to read books. Wow. I say that.
Isn't that crazy?
I know, right? Everybody makes excuses every single year. They're like, "Oh, I wish I could read books, but I just don't have time for it." But it's not that. It's not that you don't have time for it. It's that you're not making time or you just don't enjoy it. And that's completely fine if you don't enjoy it. Like, whatever. But I'm glad that I got back into the whole reading scene because I feel like it's, made me smarter in some ways and it's brought me into a new community of people. So, yeah, I really like it. How about you?
Before I answer, I would like to add 2 things to what you just said.
Okay.
The fact that people say that they don't have time to read is crazy because I have 2 jobs. Now I'm editing videos for us, and I still am managing to read books. I'll tell you how many books I read here shortly, but, like, it does still work, you know? You just like you said, have to prioritize your time, and then I would say, like you said, that you found a new community, but I will add that me and you are getting closer as well because before this, we talked maybe once a month, once a week, being like
Through
actually on
text
the
mostly.
phone, even rarer than that. Exactly. Because of the whole living in 2 different states thing. So it's kind of bringing us closer together too, which is fun.
And I have something else to add to that. Listening to audiobooks does not discredit reading the book. Like you are still reading the book, you're still understanding the story. So if you do not have time to physically sit down and read a book, that's completely fine. Just listen to an audiobook. You're still getting the same content that
Mhm.
you would have gotten when you physically read it. So you're still reading if you do
It is
audio.
still valid.
Yes, exactly.
And then did this year teach me anything about myself as a reader? It's not really teaching me. I know I have a book buying problem. I don't know if that's really teaching me anything though. I kind of already knew that, but so I did track it this year, like how many books I bought and stuff, and you know, it's
You
up
should have
there.
calculated how much money
So,
you spent.
well, I did.
You should share that with me
Well,
after
I
the
did, girl.
podcast. I would like to hear this.
I mean, I could share it right now. I don't care.
Go for it. How much money did you spend on
So
books
I'll
this
show you real
year?
quick. So let me pull it up real fast.
Including the subscription,
Okay, so I
including
have
the
an Excel sheet.
audiobook, including
Well, I
everything.
don't have the subscription anymore.
I know,
Oh,
but
see, I didn't calculate my Audible and stuff.
So it's not
But
accurate.
okay, I'll just preface this. I do have the Audible. I've had the Audible membership all year long, so whatever that equates to, I just get the 1 credit a month plus I think I'm on the Plus edition. I think that's maybe $15 per month, if I'm not mistaken. Somewhere
Figure.
between 10 and 15. But then on top of that, I have accumulated 68 books this year, which is
You have the
better is
premium.
it's
Why do you have the premium plus?
my ears.
You have the premium plus. You pay 15. Wait. So do I.
Yeah.
I think so do I. Never.
Okay.
No, because I realized the regular Audible, I tried to downgrade, but it doesn't save the credits. So you have to use the credits up immediately, which is my problem. Because I
You
have
have
like
to
5
use it.
credits right
Okay,
now. Yeah.
interesting.
So
Very
15 times
interesting.
12 is how
So
much?
yeah, I think that's yeah, I think that's the only subscription book related service that I do have. So,
So add $180 to whatever you're gonna say.
oof, I don't like that being put in numerals, numerics. Okay, so like I said, I have accumulated 68 books this year. Some of those books I will say I got from work with earned
Recently.
money, so I didn't pay for them, or or like my fiance would buy them for me, so I didn't technically buy those. Girl math, you know what I mean?
Nice.
So the total that I purchased myself, keep in mind too, I have an employee discount at the bookstore I work at. I don't wanna say how much it is, but it's a decent discount, okay?
No, I wanna know how much you spent. Come on.
Okay, with my discount on these books, because I only purchase books for my work now, is $577 plus 180 for my Audible stuff.
Could be worse. Boo,
That's
disappointing.
because I get
Actually,
a
that's pretty
decent
good.
discount at work.
Pretty good for 68 books, that really is, to be honest, so whatever. That's good.
I mean, to be fair, like my normal years, it would have been probably well into 1,000. I'm not even gonna
I
lie
thought
to you.
you
So
were about to say,
I
like,
feel like I've
3,000.
done pretty good. Oh, no, no, no. I don't got that kind of money.
Well, look,
But yeah.
it's like
So
you easily spend money on things and not realize how much you're spending until you calculate it all together.
oh,
I
I
do
know.
that all the time.
Oh, I know.
So, I thought it
Which
would
is
be.
why I started that Excel sheet to track it,
Oh, that's smart. So
you
you've
know?
already had
Okay.
that for.
Yeah, I've been doing that all year long.
Oh, okay, good, good. That's not bad.
Every time I get a new book, I log it and I put it into that sheet. So I've been tracking all of my stuff all year long. So
That's
first
good.
year I've actually tracked everything to completion, which is nice.
Okay, guys. All right, it's time for our reading stats breakdown. Woo! How many books did you read this year versus how many you thought you would read this year?
Okay, so easy question or
Easy.
answer. I'm an easy answer. So when I set up my journal and I do my Goodreads challenge for the year, I set it extremely low. I set it for 15 books for the entire year because I knew I was going to have a second job. Hang on, bear with me. I knew I was going to have a second job. I wasn't really listening to books all that much at the time, so I was only doing physical books. And so I knew I wasn't going to have a lot of time, but I was like, if I can do at least one book a month, then that's 12 books for the year. So I'll give myself a few extra books. And I also like to set attainable goals because then I feel good when I complete them versus setting unattainable goals and feeling like trash when I can't come anywhere near it. So, but yeah, I did end up reading 44 books for the entire year. So I feel pretty good about that.
That's really good. That's really, really good.
Yeah. What about you? I know you're kind of new to reading. Did you have like a goal in mind or you just kind of were going with
No,
whatever?
I had 0 goals. Yeah,
Mhm.
nothing. But I ended up reading 30 books this year.
It's like so exciting.
That is so good, right? I
Yeah,
really didn't
considering
expect
you
it.
weren't reading anything last year. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think I fell in love with the whole audiobook thing because it was so
Mhm.
easy, like, while you're cooking or cleaning just to throw on an audiobook or driving back and forth to work because at one time I was driving 30 minutes to work and then 30 minutes home from work, so that's just an hour every single day that you can add to your audiobook, so that's mostly where
Yeah.
the books come from, but yeah, really, really good. I think so.
Nice. And then did you only read audiobooks this year, or do you know how many, like, physical to audiobooks that you did read?
I did mostly audiobooks this year. I've only started doing the physical books recently. I know I read the Fourth Wing series, physical, and then the last couple books that we've read together, physical. Wait a minute. I'm completely lying. Throne of Glass. I didn't even count Throne of
Are
Glass.
you counting Huntsman in your total? Because I
No.
didn't count Huntsman
No,
in
no, no.
mine.
We
Okay.
didn't finish that. No, I'm not counting
No.
anything I didn't finish. I didn't count Throne of Glass that we just read. So
Okay.
31 then. Yep.
Nice. Beautiful.
Yes, beautiful.
If I had to break mine down, which I will for you,
Okay.
I read 25 audiobooks and I did 19 physical books. So I
That's
feel
really
like
good.
overall that's a pretty good, like, equal
Yeah.
amount. And next year, I think I'd like to start reading some ebooks as well.
Okay. I can't do that.
Maybe.
I can't do ebooks. It gives me a headache.
You know what's crazy? You're gonna love this.
You got a Kindle?
So I don't actually have a Kindle.
Okay.
What I do have is your old Amazon Fire that I stole
Good
from you.
God, you thief. I never use
So yeah, it still works okay. And I think I might have asked you if I could take it, but yeah,
You
I did
probably
take it.
did.
If
And I
not,
probably said take it.
you weren't reading.
No, I wasn't. That's so funny.
That's so yeah, it is pretty funny.
I can't do ebooks. It gives me a headache reading on the screen. I don't know why, but it does. So I can't do this.
In the past, the only time I pick up an ebook is if we're flying somewhere and it's going to be too dark to pull out my book. Like, I know they have overhead lights, but I also am very much a people pleaser and I'm not trying to disturb anyone else. Like, I don't want
Yeah.
my light infringing on anyone sleeping. So I'll always download a book and take it with me, but I read maybe 25% of it on the flight and never touch it again.
Yeah. Yeah, I hate ebooks. Ebooks are the worst,
Mhm.
in my opinion.
But I am gonna try to, because I like to take notes for my book clubs to read or for the reads that we're doing. So I would like to try instead of buying books this year, unless it's something I'm super into, I'm gonna try to get an ebook so I can take notes that way.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because you can take like notes easier on an ebook than you can
Mhm.
like anything else because you obviously can take notes on an audiobook. That's pretty cool.
Exactly.
But you can't really see your notes.
No, I think you can highlight it, and then I think it pulls up a list of your highlights.
Eh.
So,
Boo.
yeah.
Tomato, tomato. Hate it. Trash.
I prefer like just annotating in general, but it is a good option, I guess.
Okay, I apologize for this next question because I do not have an answer for you, but I know you do.
I do.
Do you have a total of pages read or hours and minutes listened?
I do. You know I do.
Oh. Is there any way to find that on Audible?
Not really. I have an
Oh.
Excel sheet, like I said, that I track all my reads in, and or no,
The
I'm lying.
nerd.
In my reading journal, on my pages, if it's an Audible book, I will write down the hours and minutes, and then if it's like a physical book, I write the pages down. And so, at the beginning of last month, I sat down and figured it all out, like the nerd that I am. But you
Very
can look on Audible and figure out how long each book is. You just have to do
well,
all the math
yeah,
yourself.
but it doesn't tell you.
No. Okay, so anyways, I'll answer now. So I read 5,400 pages essentially, and then I listened to 386 hours worth of books, which I think I did the math to be, I think that was like 30, like it was like basically a whole month of just straight listening to books, like with no breaks.
Makes
Because
sense.
I was curious. You probably don't have an answer to the next one either, because you didn't even know that ratings were based on 5 stars. You thought they were based on 10 stars,
Which I think of each other 10
but
stars.
it's so complicated. If you had to guess then, what would you say that your average star rating for books would have been this year?
There hasn't been very many fives. I would say like a 3.5 to 4 is my average.
Okay.
I would say like 4. I haven't read
I think
terrible
so.
books this year, I don't think. But nothing that I've read a few books that like knocked my socks off, but there hasn't been very many. So I'd say
Mhm.
like a 3.5 to 4 range. How about you?
Okay. Mine was a 3.5, which is kind of crazy because I've always considered myself to be a really generous rater. But now that I'm thinking about it, I have to be super in love with the book to rate it 5.
Yeah.
And then if it is decent, I'll give it a 4. And then if it's bad, I give it a 3 or if it's real bad, I give it 2, but I rarely give anything below a 2, so I guess that kinda makes sense. What was your favorite book of the year?
You can't do this to me. I have 2 that come to mind.
Nope, gotta pick one.
No, I really can't. Like, I genuinely cannot pick one. Like, I can't.
Okay,
They're both,
what were
like,
they?
head to head. Everybody knows both of these books. These are both perfect books. I read Fourth Wing for the first time this year. 10 out of Wait, why are you laughing?
I rolled my eyes. Keep going.
Why?
Keep going.
Fourth Wing and Quicksilver were the only 2 books that I rated, like, 10 out of 10 for both.
Interesting. No, I like Fourth Wing, don't get me wrong, but I do think it's a little overrated.
The first book is not.
Kinda.
Okay.
Anyways,
We don't
my
listen to your opinion. No.
my favorite book of the year, which you are not gonna agree with, was One Dark Window.
Okay. This is why we don't listen to you.
I loved that book.
Why?
I had a really good time with it. I finished it in, like, 2 days. That was reading it physically. I don't
I'm
know.
s
I just liked the atmosphere. I thought the magic system was pretty neat.
It gave
There was a few
YA middle
grammatical
school guilt.
errors. Hang on, there was a few grammatical errors, but it also was the author's debut novel, and I think she did an amazing job for it being her first book.
Okay,
I don't know, it just stuck with me, okay? I don't know if it was the moody atmosphere or what, but I liked it.
that's nice.
Period, we don't have to explain ourselves here.
R
Continue.
Okay, well, that was it. What was your least favorite book of the year?
I am gonna not say Huntsman because we've kind of already harped on that book.
Huntsman for me, trash. I hated it.
I'm gonna choose, let me double check that there was no others, but because I do have one that I would like to say. So yeah, I'm gonna pick my least favorite book of the year was A Harvest for Hearts by Andrea Ames. You are not gonna know this, but most people will. It's basically like a Howl's Moving Castle retelling or like type of retelling. But we follow this main character who she lives in a small village, and every now and then the witches and or wizards come to the villages and like harvest a heart from somebody, and it ails them in a way that makes them like want to follow that person and they never come back. And anyways, bigger plot stories obviously in line here, but it was not a good book. I didn't really choose to read it myself. We read it for book club and we all kind of ended up hating it. So I did finish it, but it was just not very good.
Okay.
So did you have a different answer other than Huntsman or no?
No, Huntsman was trash.
Okay, that's fair. Is there a book that you are still thinking about to this day?
I'm thinking about reading Brimstone, but you're taking forever, so.
No, we
Okay.
just have plans.
I loved Quicksilver. I think that one for sure. And then I also really, really liked A Serpent of the Wings of the Night or whatever it was called. That was a really, really good book. I really liked that book.
Okay,
Which is crazy that you
nice.
didn't like that book more than The One Dark Window because The One Dark Window kind of sucked, in my opinion. The Serpent, the Night of the whatever the crap, had way better
You bought
writing.
that book, right? You physically read that one, not audioed it?
Yeah, I physically read
Because
that one.
didn't you bought that while you were visiting me?
Yeah,
I audibled it, and I think that contributed to me not enjoying it as much.
that makes sense.
Some fantasy books I can listen to and it'd be fine, and then others I don't feel like I get enough out of it by listening to it, and then I don't end up rating it really good, where I do feel like I would normally otherwise.
It's
So,
like the plot
I don't know.
twist at the end was so good, and it's like, why don't you? You need to reread it. It was so good.
I don't even remember what the plot twist was.
We should reread it. We should do an episode.
I mean, we can swap between, that whole series in between our Throne of Glass books if you want.
Yeah, we can. We can do Brimstone, Throne of Glass, and then the One Dark Window. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
One Dark Window?
I mean, you know
You
what
wanna
I meant. You know
reread?
what I meant. Okay, whatever.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
Okay, how about
Okay,
you?
so the books I cannot stop thinking about, I'll give 2, and I won't give, like, really detailed summaries. I read the Fate Inked in Blood duology by Danielle L. Jensen. I think Danielle L. Jensen for me is gonna become, like, an automatic buy for an author because I've read The Bridge Kingdom by her and now this one by her, and I love all of her writing, it's amazing. Top tier, love it. But yeah, it's Norse inspired, we follow, like, a shield maiden who has a power and someone's out to get her, and it's amazing, and yeah, I really liked that one. I liked it a lot. The story was amazing. Yeah, so that one, and then I recently read for another book club book, we read Spellcaster by Jamin Eve, and it's going to be a trilogy, and the other 2 are not out yet, unfortunately, but it had its problems too, but it was also a really good book. Like, it ended up being really magical. Kinda like dark academia, but, like, there was banter with family, which was nice, and, like, you got to experience her going to classes, which is kinda cool too, so those 2.
Cool. Neat. What genre dominated your reading this year?
Fantasy for sure. Fun little fact for you,
Good
only
call.
because I love pulling out my reading journal for everybody. So, all of the blue in this image, all fantasy, so there's barely any other colors. That's what dominated my reading. What genre dominated your reading this year?
Beginning regular romance, and then towards the end, after I kind of got into it, fantasy for sure. Yes, love me a good fantasy. Now all I read is fantasy.
And is there a trope that you learned you didn't like this year?
A trope that I didn't like this year is bullying trope. Like when the
Okay,
male
that's valid.
characters like are bullying but like harshly bullying, like harshly bullying. You
Yeah,
know what I mean? That is my
partially.
harshly, yeah.
That's fair. Was there any series that you started this year but didn't finish, and will you be continuing them in the future?
I don't think so. Well, I haven't finished The Wings of the Serpent of the Knights and the Kings or whatever.
Crowns of Nyaxia and Throne of Glass, which are my 2 answers as well.
Crowns of Neaxia, I don't know
We
what that.
started Throne of Glass, but we haven't finished it. Crowns of Nyaxia
Oh,
is the
so bad.
broad series of Serpent and the Wings of Night.
Yes, that. I haven't finished that, but I've only read the first book, but I loved that book, so I'm going to be reading the second one. And I guess, yeah, Throne of Glass, and then I guess Quicksilver, because we haven't read it, because Kayla won't
Yeah, I
read
mean,
it.
I have small series that I haven't finished, but I was more or less thinking, like, large series.
Are there any series you would like to start in 2026?
So, I am thinking about starting the Dungeon Crawler Carl series on Audible. I don't know if you know anything about that series.
No,
No?
I don't
Okay,
think I
well,
want
stick with
to.
me for a minute here. Basically, if you're not a gamer or, like, a nerd, you might not be into this,
I'm gonna sit back.
but aliens kinda take over the planet. Yeah, aliens kinda take over the planet, and all the remaining humans that are alive get stuck in a dungeon underneath the earth or something, and so they go, like, through levels and, like, gain skills and level up and whatnot, and I don't know, people say that it's fun. I don't know what to spend my Audible credits on anymore now that I'm trying to take active notes in my books, so I might try that one out.
Zodiac Academy.
For you?
No, that's what you need to spend your Audible credits on.
Nah, I'm gonna try the
Okay, well, when you hate
Dungeon
it,
Crawler Carl.
go to Zodiac Academy.
I don't think I will, but okay. I'll keep it in mind. Are there any series that you would like to start in 2026? Or you don't know?
I don't know. I really don't know. I
It's
honestly
okay.
would like to reread Harry Potter.
I haven't read Harry Potter at all before.
I read Harry Potter when I was like in fourth grade, and that was the last time I read it. And I think I would get a lot more out of it now. So I think I would like to read that.
Probably. Okay. I like that.
Where did you end up reading the most this year?
Probably in the car.
Like on your lunch break or
What about
something?
you? Yeah, on my lunch break, road trips, etc.
See, I see.
Just
At
like
my
anytime I'm in
desk.
a car and can read.
True. Mine would be
Okay.
at my desk at work when I have nothing to do, which is rare,
Nice.
unfortunately.
What are your reading goals for 2026?
Read more physical books. I'm starting to like them more, and I think I fall in love with the characters more when I'm reading the physical books. So,
Mhm.
for sure, that's for me. How about you?
Are you setting, like, a specific number of books you would like to read next year?
Should I? Should I do that?
Yeah, you should.
I read 30.
Speak it into existence right now.
I say 40. 40 books. Because I read 31 this year, so.
You can tell we're two different people because you overshoot and I'm undershooting my goal.
Well, if I don't
That
overshoot,
is
like, I'm
so
not gonna,
funny.
like, try to reach it, you know what I mean?
You need motivation to read? Shame on you.
No, it's just I need motivation to, like, reach my goal. That's I don't know, that's how my brain
Gotcha.
works. How about you?
Glad you asked. So my reading goals this year are to read. I have a few goals. To read more diverse genres. So I don't want to read only fantasy because I want to be more adept at like other genres, except for maybe nonfiction. No promises there. My total books that I would like to read for the year is going to be 30. Anything extra is a plus, but 30 is the basic for me. Read more books that I own already, aka spending less on books. I would like to read 3 classic books next year. That's highballing. I don't know if I'm actually gonna do that. And 2 more. I would like to try YA because I'm considering banning myself from reading YA, so I wanna try a few more YA books before I make that, like, decision. I don't feel like I'm liking YA anymore, so I don't wanna spend time and money on YA books if it's not gonna be my thing. So I want to try to come to that conclusion this year because I have a lot of YA books on my shelf, and if I decide I'm not gonna read YA anymore, I can get rid of a lot of books, you know?
Well, you should read
Makes
Harry
sense.
Potter and then decide.
Well, I'm not gonna like, okay, I say YA books, but, like, stuff like that, like, classic books that are canon events, I'm not gonna get rid of, you know what I mean?
Gotcha. I
That's
see, I see.
different.
I see. That makes sense.
And then last one is I would like to try to have less screen time and replace it with reading, because 'cause I've been getting sucked into TikTok doom scrolling way too long, and I would like to kind of change that in 2026.
Agreed.
Those are my goals.
So, do you have a book boyfriend or girlfriend of the year?
I do.
Okay. Who is it?
You're not gonna know who this is, though. My book boyfriend of the year. I wanted to pick Kingfisher,
Mm.
okay?
Mhm.
But alas, I cannot because
Okay.
Arn Kurtel.
See ya.
Arn Kurtel. He's my man's. Well, from the Bridge Kingdom, in case you are not aware of who Arn Kurtel is.
Yeah, no clue. Yeah.
I know
Okay.
you're not. You should read the Bridge Kingdom, though. It's a good series.
Okay. If it's good, yeah, sure.
What about you? Do you have a book boyfriend or girlfriend of the year?
Kingfisher is my book boyfriend, and my book girlfriend is Violet Swaringo.
Oh, okay. I didn't pick a girlfriend. I should, though, huh?
She's my favorite, like, female main character.
If I had to pick a book girlfriend of the year, I'd pick Freya from A Fate Inked in Blood
Okay.
because she was poppin'.
Okay. That's nice. Poppin'.
And then I don't really have an answer to this question, but did you have a villain that you secretly loved?
I just loved Amarantha.
If not, we can skip the question, but you loved Amarantha?
No. Well, who did I love? I don't know. Let me think. A villain that I love? I don't think so. No, I can't think of one off the top of my head.
Is there a book that you wish you could erase from your memory just to reread it fresh?
Fourth Wing. 10 out of 10. That first book was spectacular. I wish I could read it again. Like fresh.
Okay.
So good. How about you?
One Dark Window.
Was terrible. No,
Is
I
there
feel like One Dark Window was YA.
I don't think so.
I think it was.
I don't think so. Do you have a character that you think you'll miss the most?
Missed them. Oh, like Liam.
That's not how I interpreted the question, but I guess that makes sense.
How did you interpret it?
Like if you never pick up the book again, like
Oh.
someone you'll miss reading about.
Let me think. Let me think. No, no, no. Someone that I will miss reading about. Honestly, I hate Akatar, but I do like Feyre and Rhysand's relationship. So I think Rhysand.
Okay.
Yeah.
I am gonna pick Josh from Lights Out, but like audio Josh,
I should
not
have
book
DNF'd
Josh.
Lights Out, actually. I should have
It
DNF'd
was a fun
Lights
read.
Out and Haunting Adeline. I hated both of those books. Those are terrible books.
I haven't read the other, but I did enjoy Lights Out and very much on Audible.
If you very much enjoyed
Anywho,
it, you should read Haunting Adeline because they were both the
I
same
plan to.
and they both sucked. Anyways,
Anyways, I feel like this year gave us a lot to reflect on and honestly a lot to look forward to as well. Before we go, we do want to let you know what's coming up next on Book Tea Talk. Our next episode will be a recap of Quicksilver by Callie Hart as we get ready to dive into Brimstone.
this recap episode is perfect if you've already read Quicksilver and want a refresher, or if you're planning to start Brimstone and want the main plot points fresh in your mind. We'll be talking through the big moments, character arcs, and the things you really need to remember without doing a full chapter by chapter breakdown.
So, if Quicksilver is a little hazy or if it's been sitting on your shelf for a while, we've got you covered. We went through a lot of books' opinions and a lot of growth as readers, and it really showed us what we love and what we are excited to take with us into 2026.
We would love to hear about your reading year, what books or series stood out to you, and what are you hoping to read next year. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to like, subscribe, and follow along so you don't miss future episodes.
Thanks for hanging out with us here on Book Tea Talk, and don't forget to join us next week as we do our Quicksilver recap. Until then, make sure you are following us at Book Tea Talk across all platforms for updates, bonus clips, and more. We hope you have a wonderful week. Bye, guys.
Bye!